You can become a very good reader, but it's going to take just a little bit of a lifestyle change. Hey, welcome to Park Notes. My name is Parker Settecase. I'm a PhD student in philosophy, and I am an avid reader. I don't think you can see everything, but I have stacks of books everywhere. I have like 8 different jobs, and they all require me to read and read and read and write and then read some more. So I've learned a bunch of different tips and tricks for how to read more, how to read efficiently, like genuinely efficiently, not how to zoom through books without understanding. I've learned a bunch of things by necessity because I painted myself into a corner and I've accidentally forced myself to be a reader. In this video, I'm going to show you the best way to use a notebook to help yourself become a good reader. But before that, I'm going to go over 4 other tips to help you change your lifestyle in order to become a reader. So this is a Park Notes video. I'm going to be using a notebook to help me keep on track. Let's start with the first tip to help yourself become a better reader. That is an identity shift. Now, this is going to be the squishiest of all the advice. It's a mentality type thing. You have to fake it until you make it. Tell yourself that you are a reader. Show yourself that this is something that you value. Stop telling yourself you're not good at reading. You're not a good reader. That's for someone else. You're not smart enough. Just stop with like the negative self-talk. Either don't say anything at all to yourself about it, or start with some positive stuff. Yes, I can start reading. Yes, I will start reading. So maybe for some of us, that's really weird and goofy, but I know some of you need to hear that. Stop with the negative self-talk. Start seeing yourself as a reader. Fake it until you make it. That's actually the first step in becoming a reader. The second tip is to make goals. So yeah, it's great if you start identifying as a reader, but if you don't read, then that's silly. So you actually have to go out and do some hard work of coming up with goals to help yourself start reading. Now, I've already done a couple videos on how to make reading goals. Let me just briefly summarize those right here. You can do a daily page number goal, or you can do a time goal. The time goal would be something like, I vow to read for half an hour today. I vow to read for an hour today. I'm going to find time in my schedule. I'm going to block it off like I'm in a meeting, and I'm just going to read. And come hell or high water, if there's a fire, if there's a flood, I don't care. I'm going to keep reading until that timer goes off. The daily page number goal is a little bit different. I actually use both of these, but I prefer the daily page number goal. You can either just come up with a random number that you think is achievable, say 15 pages. I could read 15 pages in a day. Just start with that and make that your goal, and then try to read 15 pages every single day. If it helps you, then do a little bit of math and multiply 15 by 365, and then divide that by like 300 for the average size of a book, and you can see how many books you'll finish if you're reading average size books in a given year. The other way is to actually go out and find the exact books that you want to read, plan those out. Say you want to read 1 book a week, then you divide the number of pages in that book by 7 for 7 days in a week, and then that's your daily page number goal. If you read that many pages every single day in that week, you'll finish the book in a week. So that's going to be a little bit more intensive, but I know some of you guys are super nerds, and that would really help you. So that's another way to start making goals. But whatever the case, start making goals and then try to achieve those goals. So see yourself as a reader and then set some goals to help you become a reader. The third tip is find a place to do your reading. When you have a set place that you know is going to be conducive to reading, that's going to help you get in that mindset. Maybe you go to a coffee shop. Maybe you need a lot of the background noise. When you go there, you're going there on purpose to go read. That's giving yourself a cue, hey, it's time to start reading. Maybe you go into your office like I do. That gives you a cue, hey, it's time to shift gears. It's time to get into reading and thinking mode out of whatever other mode you were in prior to that. So this is my reading corner. This is where I read science fiction and fantasy. This is where I do a lot of my own philosophical science fiction and fantasy writing. I have all sorts of toys and stuff that help me think creatively. A lot of my favorite characters, which help stimulate different kinds of characters that I want to write. I have Skeletor over there. I have Supreme Strange from the What If series. I have a lot of mementos here to help me remember the kind of philosophical fiction I want to write. Another one of my mementos is this band from Gentle Bands. I chose the Panther because it is rose gold and it's tungsten. It's got these rhombus shapes cut throughout. But this reminds me of this place. This reminds me of what I want to do. I want to have really good protreptic philosophical ideas wrapped in science fiction and fantasy stories. And this reminds me of that. It's gold wrapped in hard tungsten. I mean, that feels like philosophical fiction to me. And so when I'm out and about, this reminds me of my space. This reminds me of my corner. This reminds me of that vision that I have to inculcate really good philosophical ideas in speculative fiction. So I really like the Panther, but check the link in my description or in the pinned comment and browse their full catalog. They have a whole variety of different materials and designs available, so you can find the best one to fit your personal identity and serve as a memento for you. So big thanks to Gentle Bands for sponsoring this video. The fourth tip is bring a book with you everywhere you go. Now this sounds a little bit contradictory. I just said find a place to read. That's great. That's where you're going to do the bulk of your reading. That's where you're going to try to accomplish your time goals. So you go to that place for a half hour or 60 minutes or 90 minutes, probably not more than 90 minutes at a time. There's a little bit of research on focus lengths, and I've heard that 90 minutes is kind of the upper end of that, but maybe you're a superhero and you can do more than that. Anyways, yes, you should find a place, but yes, you should also bring a book with you everywhere you go so you can get in extra reading. When I bring a book with me and someone's late 10 minutes or 15 minutes, like that's kind of a big deal. But if I have a book with me, they just gave me another 10 minutes or 15 minutes of reading. Thank you. I'm glad. Be late more often. This is great. I don't get upset because I have other things to be doing other than mindlessly scrolling. Now, I know for some of you, especially the younger ones in the audience, you guys think that reading in public is performative. First of all, who cares if it's performative? Let someone else worry about that. You have goals to accomplish. Go and accomplish your goals and let everyone else worry about that. It's not cringe to read in public. It's cringe to care about what other people think of you. That's cringe. That's silly. That's cringy if you're a millennial. If you're Gen Z, then it's cringe. It's silly. Stop caring so much about what other people think. Bring a book with you in order to accomplish your goals. You don't have to sit there like this trying to show everyone that you're reading the Brothers Karamazov or something like that. But it's okay if they find out that you're reading. That's all. Reading in public is actually good. We need more people reading in public and less people scrolling on their phones in public. Scrolling on your phones is performative. If anything's performative. Oh, I'm apathetic. I don't care. I'm somewhere else right now. Dude, yuck. No. Take a book with you and read it in public and make sure you can actually accomplish your reading goals or maybe even get ahead of your goals. So bring a book with you everywhere you go. And then finally, tip number 5, use a notebook. As promised, I'm going to show you the notebook that I've been using this year to help myself keep on track with my goals and actually remember what I've read. So this is my 2026 book notes and reading log. I've added both of those together. Again, I've talked about this in other videos, but I've never smashed them together before. I really love this method. This is probably going to stick with me forever. So in the front here, I have book notes. These are the notes on the books that I've been reading this year. I've been playing around with my book notes. I haven't figured out the best way for me yet. Sometimes I will take notes after I've read a section. So here we have H.P. Lovecraft's Commonplace book, and I have notes from page 1 through 23. And then other books, I've done an entire summary just in one page. So here I have St. Augustine's Soliloquies. And over here I have Charles Williams' The Place of the Lion. So it's just one page. It's a summary to help me remember what did I read and how did I feel about it. Would I like to read it again? Would I recommend it to someone else? What are my overall feelings about the book? I have a pretty easy time remembering most of what I read because I take marginal notes inside the books and because I'm constantly writing about them. But when I'm not, it's kind of embarrassing to not be able to recount or recall what the book that I just read was about. So this really helps me do that. And if I need a refresher, I can just come back to my book notes and refresh myself. So book notes go on this side. This is not the only place that I do book notes, but again, I have a ton of projects that require me to be reading and commenting on what I've read. So I have a whole different notebook for taking the more in-depth notes, but this is so much less intense, and I much rather recommend this style to you who are working on becoming a better reader. So just give yourself little summaries, whether that's summarizing the passage that you read or summarizing the 15 pages that you got through, or the chapter. Chapter's probably the best if you want to summarize individually, but that's going to be a lot. I recommend giving a 1 to 2 page summary of whatever you've been reading. So when you finish that book, give yourself a 1 to 2 page summary to help you recall what you've read. You don't have to write down everything, just some clues to help your mind remember later. So book notes start in the front and they're going the normal way through the notebook, but if I flip it and reverse it, it's yours if it's been wet yet, then here I have my book log. This is where I actually keep track of the pages that I read on a given day. I flipped it and reversed it because they will meet in the middle. I have one notebook to keep track of my goals and to help me remember what I've read. You just flip it. It's awesome. So I will run out of this notebook when the two meet in the middle. So when I flip it, here I just keep track of my daily page number goals. If you want to keep track of your time goals, just do that. Just put down the date, write down the amount that you want to read, give yourself a little box, and then check it or cross it out when you've completed that. You may be surprised by this, but just doing little cues like marking down that you actually accomplished your goal, that is a signal to your brain. It's positive feedback. It's going to help you do that more often. It feels good to give that little check mark. The way I do it is I write down the page number goals. I write down the page that I started on and the page that I finished, and then I write down the number of pages I actually accomplished. This helps me keep on track with my goals. This is just a Leuchtturm 1917 A5. That's my favorite kind of notebook. You can use whatever notebook you like, but you should actually try starting with a physical notebook instead of just using your phone for everything. So there are 5 tips on how to become a reader. If you follow those tips, you will get better at reading. If you guys like this video, then make sure to leave me a like and leave me a comment. If you have other tips or tricks for helping someone grow as a reader, that would be uber helpful. Please drop those in the comments and feel free to share this. Feel obliged to share this with someone who needs help with reading tips. All right, that's going to do it for the video. I'll catch you guys next time.